Okay. Show me.
Hi there guys, welcome back to the Dutch SC channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. And what you see here is a 5-inch racing quadcopter. This is my Rotorama Wasp. I built me this quadcopter partly to review some stacks from Diatone and obviously the frame. And this is one of my favorite quadcopters. I've had it for a while, and if you follow my channel, or maybe if you know me personally, you probably know that I don't keep all my quadcopters around. This one is still around. This one I definitely wouldn't sell. Very nice quadcopter, very agile and fast. So yeah, that's very nice. So when Rotorama told me we've got a new racing frame, I told them, get me one. Yeah, and also I have to be honest, I was looking for an excuse to build another quadcopter because I've got new electronics to try. So there you go, one cardboard box. Yeah, that isn't all that exciting. This box contains the parts for a new build. And in this video we'll review the frame, so the first part of this build. And it's the Rotorama Samurai version 3 Pro. There are several versions of this frame. Actually, let's cut to the parts. Hachikidei, here are the frame parts I have for this build. So again, this is the Rotorama Samurai version 3 Pro. There is also a non-pro version and I'll show you what the difference is. And in case you are unfamiliar with Rotorama, well, then you are probably new to my channel maybe. Yeah, because I've done a lot of Rotorama builds. Rotorama's main aim is racing frames, and most of the frames, well, originally at least, were 5-inch. Well, maybe I'm mistaken. I was introduced to the frames with a 5-inch racing frame. So again, also a lightweight 5-inch racing frame. And in this video, again, we'll review this frame. I'll show you what it looks like, how it goes together, are there pros, are there cons. And also I've got a few optional parts. These straps don't come with the frame. This pad, battery pad doesn't come with the frame. And this turtle fin, or well, protective fin, doesn't come with the frame. This is what you see here is the frame kit. So let's get this bag opened. So guys, here are the carbon fiber parts for this frame. Again, if you are unfamiliar with Rotorama, I'd say that most of their frames are simple, as easy as can be, no frills, but light and strong. That's their mainstay, I'd say. Well, at least in my humble opinion. So again, this is the Pro version of the frame, and that means that this frame has side force generators. And in a minute you'll see what that looks like. But from the arms, you can see mounts over here for those side force generators. Also, these are basically side rails to the frame. And in some frames that makes the construction complicated, therefore heavy and maybe prone to damage. We'll see what this looks like. And okay, we've got two side risers, so this frame does not have aluminium risers such as these. These are horizontal pieces. You'll see in a minute what that looks like. And also we've got 2 arms instead of 4. So if you break one arm, yes, you will break 2 arms basically. This also makes the frame lighter and stronger though. So yeah, there's a give and take in that. So let's first have a looky if this frame is actually clean. I like me some clean frames. So far so good. There is a little bit of carbon dust, probably mostly from the drilling holes, but my hands are basically more or less clean still. There's a little bit of dust on my fingers. So I'd say that if you handle this frame, do clean your hands afterwards. And well, after the first fight it'll definitely be gone. And also the edges, they are well machined and finished, but they aren't chamfered, they aren't rounded off. They won't cut you, these edges, but this is basically what I'm used to from Rotorama frames. Nothing fancy, so they aren't well rounded off, which would add to the cost of the frame. Maybe it would even cost a little bit of strength to the arms and such. But yeah, no frills again, and also no glossy finish. all set and finished. So these again are the side force generators here. This is the bottom plate, and we've got two identical arms. Yeah, front and back arms are identical. We'll see if that translates into a symmetrical X frame. I don't think so. The Wasp was, by the way, a hybrid in which the rear arms are wider. I must say I did like that. We'll see how this turns out. Oh, by the way, also this is a very interesting build because this will be an 8S build. So definitely subscribe if you don't want to miss an 8S quadcopter build. And let me see, we've got some screws and such and fasteners and the horizontal spacers. Yeah. Okay, so the frame is clean, it is well cut. And yeah, no chamfering. Also, with all Rotorama frames, most, you don't get straps or a battery pad, just so you know. I don't find them to be expensive, but also it's not a Chinese brand, so that does make it a little bit more expensive. You are paying import tax, right? I don't think they're imported into the US yet, at least, or Australia, etc. So yeah, maybe that's something Rotorama needs to work on. And with that said, I'm gonna be building the frame off screen, and then I'll show you what I came up with, and well, if it fits well together and such, and if I ran into problems, what it weighs, what it feels like. Here we go. Guys, that went together extremely well, actually. I'm not over-exaggerating things, it went together very, very well. The fit and finish is great. The tolerances are small, but enough. For instance, these captured nuts, you see all around this frame for this, this top section, if you will. It has 4 capture nuts, and these rails or side force generators are also mounted with captured nuts. I'm not completely sure whether that's the correct name, by the way, in English, that is. Captured nuts, they are basically square nuts that slide into the carbon fiber and then you screw in. It is a relatively light way of constructing your frame, non-complicated, and it's strong. It's proven to be strong, but mostly light. Again, if you want to add side force generators or sideways construction arms, you end up with a more compact frame, right? With these captured nuts, you've probably seen frames with these captured nuts. In some frames, if you try to assemble them, these captured nuts slide out, keep falling out. In other frames, you have to hammer them in. In this case, I had to, well, persuade them. Let's say. So, and that's better, by the way, if you have them falling out while trying to assemble the frame or doing maintenance on your frame. That's even worse, right? Having them fall out in the field. So yeah, this worked out well. However, in my case, it worked out well. These captured nuts constructions do have a tendency of, well, having tolerances different from frame to frame or batches to batches, right? And also, the Wasp I showed you a minute ago is more of a conventional frame with standoffs and a top platform, as you can tell. So, quite different from this one. And you might have seen the HGLRC Mephisto from a few years ago. It has the same construction as this one. I actually did a review of the Mephisto frame a couple of years ago, and I'll link to that up there in the top right corner. However, different way of constructing your frame. This should lead to a very light frame though, and the non-pro version that comes without these side force generators is even lighter. Here, let me show you a picture. I don't have that frame, but this is a picture from Rotorama itself. So let's then see what this Pro version weighs. So, drum roll please. This frame should be a little bit heavier than the non-Pro version. The non-Pro version is probably a frame for 2004 motors. This one is 64 grams. So yeah, there's definitely a penalty for these side force generators. And I am very anxious to see whether, what the effect is. Whether I can sense it. The side force generator should make it easier for this quadcopter to fly in a straight line, to keep a steady heading. And it should also make it more susceptible to wind, probably. I'm not sure, but that's my, well, hunch while looking at it. Okay, so 64 grams, that's actually, well, about the same as the wasp frame, I think, but the wasp frame doesn't have side force generators. And I must tell you that the frame actually looks smallish, but that's an illusion. It's definitely a 5.1 inch frame. Speaking of dimensions, let's see the dimensions. Oh, by the way, I misspoke about the pricing of this frame. Go check it out. I'll have links to this Pro version and the non-Pro version in the description down below. They are not affiliate links, but they aren't expensive. I thought they would be more expensive, but this Pro version is less than 50 euros. There will be transport costs probably, but yeah, it's not an expensive frame. And okay, so the arms are massively thick. We'll check if the frame is rigid, stiff, but 5mm arms. That's quite nice. So motor center to motor center, front to back is 145mm. Then left to right. Left to right, motor center to motor center, 138. So this frame is a little bit longer than it is wide. Then wheelbase is 125mm, pretty typical. And what more do we need to know? The camera spacing is 1.9mm, so DJI compatible, I'd say, or micro camera. Then the stack mounting options over here are 20x20 only, so definitely not a full size stack. But however, the spacing or the room in between the arms over here, this room is bigger than their previous quadcopters. Also bigger than the Wasp I showed you. So it'll be pretty easy to fit at least, well, a 20x20 stack obviously, and probably even a digital Vista setup shouldn't be a problem at all. There's, as you can hopefully see, quite a lot of room in between, well, the bottom and this top section. And also horizontally quite a bit of room. Also, you can mount your FV camera in 3 positions, as you can see here, depending on the length basically of your lens, so that it fits in between these camera protectors. And yeah, so let's see how stiff this. Oh man, this is a very stiff frame. Yeah, I can't get any movement. Yeah, that is one of the benefits of the one-piece arms, I guess, and also these side force generators add a little bit of rigidity, stiffness to the frame. That'll probably make it easier to tune a quadcopter like this, and it'll make it more precise to fly, apart from it being crash resistant. So that's very, very nice. I'm impressed, it looks great. And so again, I will include links to this Pro version and the non-Pro version in the description down below. This Pro version isn't available yet. It'll be available, well, maybe it'll be available by the time you see this video, but at the end of May, I think. The non-Pro version is already available. Also, I'll include links to all the parts I'll be using in this build. I'm not completely sure what other videos I'll do in this for this build project. Probably something about the stack, because the stack is quite impressive. It's an 8S stack. And yeah, and I'll test the FV setup, because it'll be an FV setup that I've never used before. Interesting, at least for me. Again, go check out the description of this video. There will be links to all components. I am obviously very much looking forward to building, and even more obviously flying this here quadcopter. Yeah. Again, I'm sure it'll fly very precise. Hopefully also very fast. Yeah. Okay, so if you are left with questions about this or anything else, hit me up a comment down below. Catch you on the next video. Bye bye.